What we will be discussing is a television advertisement for KFC that has been criticised for being racist and therefore taken off air by KFC. Firstly, we will describe the ad, then we'll discuss our perceptions of the ad and the appropriate ways to link the event with current Queensland curriculum. The advertisement introduces itself as Cricket Survival Guide for Australian Spectators. A white Australian male spectator is sighing and rubbing his face in reaction to the behaviour of the people around him, all black, making music and dancing around. He says, "Need a tip when you're stuck in an awkward situation?" then proceeds to feed them all KFC chicken. The people are then eating in quiet. "Too easy," he says.
So Neva, how do you view this ad?
I personally, as an Australian cricket fan, viewed this particular advertisement as being wholly and solely about cricket. I don't see the big deal.
No, I'm with you there.
Within the community that I particularly am involved in, it's the whole collective identity of the community is that you get out and play sport, you're involved in sport, you're very active in supporting all sporting events. You know, to the extent that some people would view that that sport is a religion to us. I don't know, Tina, how do you?
Yeah, if taken in that context, I don't see it as a big, huge deal. But people who have not seen the series of ads and understand what it's about, just as a single ad, I can see that it could be portrayed as being racist. You know, you've got one guy, white guy, who's, you know, seemingly superior to the black people around him, appeasing them with food like you would little kids, lollies, you know, or, yeah, I see it could be racist, and that's where it's coming from. The African diasporic communities around the globe are reacting, saying, white people of Australia, you're racist, it's affected our national identity.
Yeah, I guess, but as the key word that you mentioned in there was their perception, and
That's
it
right.
is taken out of context. You know, you consider that, okay, at the particular time that this ad was shown on TV, that Australia were playing West Indies in a cricket series.
Yeah.
You know, they, as...
It was team against team,
Yeah.
not black against white.
That's right.
That was the original intention, yeah.
Like when watching a game, that particular ad came on and you instantly knew that it was West Indians versus Australian team.
Yeah.
It was related to the actual event that we were watching on TV at the time. I was really disappointed to hear that the Australian newspaper mentioned that a US organisation or community had slammed this ad as being racist. You know, like, they don't even play international cricket.
No,
why are they slamming something that was designed for Australian television?
Yeah, bit taken out of context.
Yeah. I just think it's really sad to think that an American or another country can actually slam or start such a debate. But, you know, even the Australian Defence Force Chief, General Peter Cosgrove, he acknowledged that, yes, we do have pockets of racism within Australia, but as a nation, we really are one that is compassionate and generous, and that's really shown by other acts of kindness that Australians are very willing to.
So thanks for coming on short notice. We've had this issue about the KFC ad, the racism, so I think that it really needs to be incorporated into our one of our KLAs at the moment. So Tina, how would you incorporate it? Which area would you look at?
The most pertinent is probably the arts. Like, we could represent the ad, because the kids can do dancing, they can make their own music, drawings, posters. We can get them to redo it or recreate it, taking into account the difference factor that, you know, allowing for everybody to appreciate it and not be offended by it. So how they perceive that to be, we can do that. The arts, I think, is
that's a great idea.
Yeah, I guess developing the arts that little bit further, remembering that the Essential Learnings actually wants us to look at the intended audience.
Yep.
And I guess year 7, they should be establishing, you know, what is offensive and what's not. And maybe they could, instead of just presenting the actual ad, maybe they could redo the whole thing. But that would involve looking at what would be offensive to everyone within our community. So I guess then it would link with SOS.
Oh, look, I think we can go across a lot of KLAs with this area, even with the technology of like making their own ad or typing and emailing a letter to somebody about their opinion on it. So
Yep.
like,
well, if we look at SOS, you're really looking at the relationship that Australians have with other countries.
yes.
I guess that could be developed quite extensively. But then you're also looking at that whole personal identity and where I fit in within the community.
The difference of opinions as well. So.
And accepting and acknowledging those differences and
appreciating them.
But just because you're different to me doesn't mean that I'm better than you.
Or that you're right and someone's wrong. So,
There's lots of different ways to do things.
So I think SOS would be one that would definitely try to incorporate this particular event.
Well, see, my personal opinion is I was going to look at the English KLA.
Right.
And I just think that it's one that I can bring in, going cross curriculum with. So I envisioned, like as I said, writing a letter. But bringing in this the technology as well.
I think you're on a good idea with that. In particular, maybe I know that there's lots of newspaper articles that actually have been written about this particular advertisement. Maybe we could encourage the students. Oh, you've got some, haven't you? Oh, excellent. Maybe we could pick 1 or 2 of these out and actually encourage the students to write a letter to the particular editor about their article and how it made them feel. What emotions did they personally experience when they viewed this event?
And how people are seeing the Australian identity being depicted.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think they're great ideas.
But I guess too, if we wanted to develop that a little bit more within English, we could also look at the speaking and listening.
Okay, so what would you do in speaking and listening?
I personally think a debate would be really appropriate for this particular thing. We're encouraging the Year 7 students to look at their opinions.
Is it racist? Is it not? What is racist first? Let's define that. What is difference and have a for and against and get them to come up with, they can inquire into that. There's heaps they can do on that.
And the accessible elements really requires a lot of discussion and using persuasion in the way that they talk to other people and so forth. So utilising a debate in conjunction with your letter writing program, which as you said would be cross-curricular, I think you'd cover that particular issue extremely well.
Okay, so as a year level, if we look at doing the debate within our class, which is covering the speaking and listening, we do the letter, which is going cross-curriculum, so they have to draft it first, and then proof it, get it proofed by us, and then get them to type it up and email it through to, as Tina, you showed that there was one from
there's one from New Zealand. It's all over the news. New Zealand, the UK, the States, everybody's talking about it.
So
maybe if we took a class each, I know there was an Australian article as well, so maybe we could, utilise those. Do we want to get together and view the actual ad, incorporating viewing and reading and having discussions about it?
I think
as
that's a great
together.
idea. As a year level.
We'll set up the interactive whiteboard and we'll all get together during the first reading block, English block this week.
How about Monday morning?
Excellent. Let's do it.
In conclusion, we have demonstrated that this event is relevant to the representation of Australian identity. Within Australia, multiracial communities are often confronted with the issue of identity. Therefore, as educators, we are endeavouring to promote positive cross-cultural relationships by showing that diversity is all about accepting and embracing difference and variety.